Hey guys, Coach Nate here.
And I'm Coach Holly, and today we are reviewing the Ultimate Direction Raced Vest / Vesta 5.0.
That's right, and we've gotten to run in this thing the last few months, and we're excited to tell you all about it, what we like, what we didn't like, how it fit, whether it's a good match for you. But first, let's get into the specs. So let's talk specs. First of all, for you gram junkies out there, this vest weighs only 5 ounces, which is basically nothing, of course, without the bottles. You have two 500 milliliter body bottles, each with little tops that pop in and out that you can thread right into these pockets, and you've got these nice little cinch straps to keep things in. A helpful little whistle just in case you need to whistle for someone. It is secured by these hook straps that fit right here, and you kind of have options of which one of these little things you want to hit. I'll tell more about this later. The pockets on this thing are pretty great. You've got two big rib-sized pockets, one that's open. I stashed my phone in this one, pretty easy. You can see I've got a good-sized phone here, so I had no problem with that. Other zipper pocket for, stuff, as well as these two smaller pockets. I threw like my credit card and license in here, as well as like a gel. Bringing things over to the back of this lovely vest, we have a 2-liter reservoir, a 2-liter pocket that could hold up to a 2-liter reservoir right here. Plenty of room. We've got an extra cinch strap on the back to tighten down a jacket or a windbreaker or anything you need, as well as some additional adjustable straps just to make sure this thing is tight and secure. So first impressions of this thing is just how incredibly lightweight and airy it is. Like, I just love this. You can look through right here, just this open mesh. I'm a big sweater, so I'm always cognizant and aware of that. I liked the general color and design of it as well. It didn't seem overly burdensome. I liked the little bright blue accents, which I thought were cool. And initially I struggled with the hooks. When I put this thing on, I liked the adjustability component of it, but if I'm being honest, it took a moment or two for me to figure out how to get these hooks things in there.
So I was a fan of this vest from the very first run that I did in it. I should tell you guys that I've been running in the Ultimate Direction Ultra Vesta, which came out several years ago. So probably for the last 4 years I've run in that. Now that one, the sizing was different. So my first thing I noticed on this vest was that their sizing has now gone up. So I ordered a size that I thought I was, which was relative to my old pack, and it turns out that that's now too big. So make sure you take your measurements before you order any of these because they have changed their sizing. Second, super lightweight, like Nate might have mentioned. It is not a heavy pack at all. This thing clings to you. I barely notice it's on there. Obviously you're holding liquids, but as far as the pack itself, it weighs basically nothing. On first glance, I loved the colors. I feel like this vest just fits my personality in general. I love blues, I love grays, and I feel like most of my workout clothes are that color. This shouldn't be that important of a feature, but for me it really is. My old one was like bright purple, which just never really resonated with me, so I loved that. And then the other part is just the functionality. So my first thoughts on the functionality are just that there are so many improvements that they made. Lots more pockets, zippers down here, quick access pockets up here, which I didn't have in the old one. And then of course it can hold a 2-liter bladder, which the old one only held 1.5. And then these two body bottles as well. So the reservoir doesn't come with the bag. I did order it. I know Nate doesn't have his in there, but I do have the 2-liter bladder back here. And so I've been trying it out with all of those pieces included.
I was also immediately impressed with these bottles. Sometimes when you pull things out the first time, it's gonna taste super plasticky, and that first run or two is just gonna be like, well, I'm just gonna have to suffer for a little while before that goes away. Well, I basically rinse these things out, and right out of the gate, no funky water taste whatsoever. So good job, Ultimate Direction, on that. I have to say, these little pop tops threw me off for a little bit. I had these down, I was squeezing, I can't get anything out. But then I quickly realized, oh, okay, there's a little pop top here that is a little extra insurance from water sloshing around on you. So at first I was a little hoodwinked, but then I was like, okay, I get it. This actually makes a lot of sense. What do you think, Holly?
As far as the bottle tops go, it is a little weird. You have to pull them up before you can actually drink out of them. So there's this little small little feature that's not pretty obvious when you first start using it. So once I got that figured out, it helped. I will say that I think it's a good security feature because in some of the other body bottles I've used, if you just squish it too hard or you accidentally pinch the top, water's gonna go everywhere. So I like that extra feature, but it is a little funky. The hook straps I love. I know they are a little cumbersome at first, but the way that they hook into the little strap here is actually a security feature that I feel will never go bad over time. So the old pack that I was using had clips, like really small buckles here. Over time, I feel like through sweat and dry rot and all that stuff, they start to just get stiff. And I was always kind of going into a race thinking, maybe this will break, I don't know, I hope not. But these, it just hooks right in to the strap. Really can't mess with it after that. It's just perfectly on there, super adjustable. There are different little patches here all the way that you can measure. So you can put this wherever's comfortable, especially for women in the women's vest. We all have different chest sizes, and as the water goes down, you're gonna have to adjust things anyway. So it's kind of perfect. I can put this up as high or as low as I want. 2 straps there, makes things super easy.
So I got to train with this vest over a series of 10 to 13 mile runs, often running with my wife and our dog. I'd be carrying water for all 3 of us as we go on some pretty long exposed climbs in the sun. Temperatures really starting to rocket up here in Northern California, especially we get into the summer. And I just loved my sense of freedom running with this thing. Yeah, it seems weird, but I didn't feel like I was running with anything on, which affected me from both ways. One was just temperature. I didn't feel like I was just being suffocated, which I really, really enjoyed. I just felt like it was open and airy and light. And the other thing that in a way is almost even more important to me, you guys know me on this channel, I'm a little bit of a mechanics and movement nut. I love hydration products that don't affect my mechanics. So if I'm running with a hydration bottle, sure, it's convenient, but my arm swing starts to get a little bit weird. I've definitely worn vests and packs in the past that kind of forces me to wing my elbows out a little bit because I feel like I'm rubbing and brushing and that just bothers my arm swing. Well, I feel like this just didn't affect my arm carriage and swing whatsoever, even when I had all my pockets loaded up.
So I've taken this thing out on a 7-mile run all the way up to 21 miles, and I plan to take it even farther than that. The first thing I noticed that I had to get used to was the fact that the reservoir sits almost loose in this back pocket. So you can kind of see down there, it does hook at the top. So there's a strap, there's a snap there, and then it also goes through another little like elastic loop, if you can see that. And so it does sit and it is secure, and of course it's weighted by the water. There's 2 liters in there. However, because this is such a mesh material, it's almost a little slippery, so there's a little squeak noise that kind of happens where when it's bouncing, you just hear this little squeak. And so I got used to that. I would say that it wasn't a big issue after the beginning. I just noticed it because I didn't have that in my old one. Otherwise, super functional. Now, the pockets I mentioned before, so great because I can put all the stuff I need. So salt tubes that I use for electrolytes. I love this base salt right here. I'll drop that below in the description. I used to just put it in my pocket to make it really easy to grab, but now with the front pockets here, so easy. They're split. Drop it down the front, or I can put it in the zipper as well. For my fuel, I like to do Tailwind, which is a powder. Has my calories in there as well as some electrolyte, depending on the type that you use. So I'll fill at least one of the body bottles up with that. And then I'll do either the other one with that as well. Definitely the reservoir will just be water. That's how I usually like to roll. By the end of like a 20-mile run, I've pretty much dried myself out. So I will say that having your plan set up from the beginning to know where all of your electrolyte, your fuel, I can even put my gels, where did they go? Right here, in the front. Having that all in a certain area and a plan with how often you're gonna eat and drink really helps you identify the best benefits of the vest. So that's what I noticed, is there was a place for everything and I knew where to grab it from. If I was doing more than 20 miles, had to go back to the car and refill this thing, super easy to do as well.
So I haven't used a vest like this before with bottles in the front. I've always had bladders in the back, so I wasn't really sure how I was actually going to drink with these things here. It's like, do I pull them out every time? Do I drink it and then stuff it back in? Well, I quickly realized that I could just pop the top and just drink right from here while I'm running, which was super convenient and easy. I liked that the weight was distributed on both sides. Neither thing felt super heavy, so I didn't feel like I was being pulled in either direction. And when that bottle started to get a little lower and it started to slosh, I could just use these bungee cords and tighten things up, and voila, all the sloshing had disappeared. Now, while I did love the usability of these bottles and the lack of plasticky flavor, one of my bottles did spring a leak, which was a little concerning to me. I haven't used this thing that much after all, and it looks like it just appeared on a little crease of this bottle right here in the side. Got a little bit soaked over the weekend on my latest run. So hopefully this is just a flaw, but that might be a downside for these bottles that are so foldable and malleable, is that they can be a little fragile as well.
One thing that I did have to play with in the beginning was how to put the hose through the pack and how to make sure it was situated in a way that I could easily access it without it moving around. So they put a lot of these little loops and everything in the elastic through the pack, which is great. And even in this one, there's a snap so you can move how tight you want it to be. I played with a few different versions of this because I noticed that because it's plastic, the hose will slip around a little bit. So you just wanna make sure that it's not gonna fall out or hit you in the face or whatever while you're running. So what I ended up landing on was coming through one side. Let's see if I can get it. And then I can go under one of the straps for a little added security, come up through the other loop here. And then I'm kind of good to go. I know it won't really move that much. You can play with it different ways. Like I said, everyone's different. For me, I like to have it just right where I can grab it. I'll always use my hand to drink. I'm not just gonna like lean down and drink from it, but I know that it's gonna be right there and I don't have to worry about it moving. Now, the other feature they added to this hose, which was not in the last one, is you can pull the top up to unlock, and then you can bite it and drink from it, and then close it like this. There's actually a double lock on there. It just helps ensure that it's not gonna just leak or squeeze when you don't want it to, and I think this is a good feature. They also, like we talked about, did it on the body bottles, so kind of nice that there's consistency there. I find that it makes it just feel more secure as well, but super easy to drink from throughout the run.
So at 125 bucks, this is right at that price point you'd expect from a high quality, lightweight performance vest. It's certainly in line with other brands that you see out there, and one that's honestly worth the investment, especially if you spend a lot of time on the trails. If you are definitely going out for those races and those ultras, it is definitely almost required equipment. So this is a vest I'll definitely continue to use. It's kind of the perfect size for carrying water for me, my wife, and our dog, Coach Nora. As we go out for those 2-hour runs, I could definitely see it being a great vest for longer solo runs, especially if I use the bladder in the back. And again, my only knocks of this vest, and there's really only two, is one was kind of the initial funkiness of the straps, though I think it's a good trade-off between something that's durable versus something that just might be small and plasticky and break, as Coach Holly has said, as well as the little sprung leak in my bottle, which I'm just more bummed about. I'm just like, I need another bottle so I can keep running in this thing. Holly, what do you think?
Final thoughts on this thing. This vest is awesome. I really have enjoyed training in it. It's functional, it looks good, and it holds tight to my body, so my run form is not affected. Now for ladies, they did a really good job, like I said, at making it adjustable. The straps, the different versions, the different levels for the hooks, all of that stuff makes this thing feel personal to you, which is awesome. The only thing I would change about this vest is how the reservoir sits in the pack. Slides a little bit, like I mentioned, so as time goes on, liquid comes out. You know, I don't like feeling that it can move, even though I know it will stay. That's the only thing I would really change. Otherwise, it's super light and breathable, and as many miles as we're gonna put into this thing, all the sweat, all the gross outdoor stuff, I feel like this will be really easy to clean as well. Super happy with it. You guys should check it out yourselves.
Hit the link below if you want to dive deeper into the world of Ultimate Direction vests or find the right hydration vest for you. And of course, if you want a little bit more insight in what it's like to train for these longer runs that require these vests, well, you definitely need to check out this video playing over my shoulder, all about ultra running tips for newbies with one of our epic ultra runner coach friends. Enjoy that one. I'm gonna keep filming, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Keep earning those miles. Oh, why is this bad? I'm having a hard time with this.